Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Muntz Report as we head into Cox Plate weekend. Trainer Chris Muntz joins us hot off the heels of a Saturday Metro double. Welcome, mate. You spent a bit of time in the winners' room over the weekend, and no doubt there were some excited owners joining you in there.
Yeah, it was great. It was really good. I mean, it's to have two winners in town on Saturday is really good. It's well deserved for the two mares. They're quite good gallopers, and I think I'd said last Friday that they were both sort of ready to race well, and it was good to see them aim up to the way I thought they would.
Yeah, well, you tipped us into Rhapsody Rose. She duly saluted, taking a prize money past the $250,000 mark, and I believe all roads now lead to the Magic Millions with her.
Yeah, so she'll have a little let up, just 10 days in the paddock before we bring her back, and we'll head towards the Mode on December 4 with her before going into the Vo Rogue and then into Magic Millions Guineas Day. So she'll only have three more runs, obviously culminating the grand final being on Magic Million Day.
Okay, and you must have been happy with the way that she tackled the 1,400 metres.
It was incredible. I mean, it was one of her highest rating races that returned. So I thought that she would. I mean, the way that she'd been racing and working suggested to me that she's a bold, strong, on-speed filly. But to see her win the way she did with that big weight on a track like Eagle Farm, it was certainly a credit to her. So, as I said, she's in a paddock at the moment, having a well-deserved freshen up, and then we'll come back and get her ready for Magic Millions.
Yeah, well done there. Well done to Connections. Can't draw a barrier, but doesn't matter anyway, does it? So well done there. And Centify, she continued her good form with her third win at Eagle Farm from 5 starts, and she's also close to the $200,000 mark herself after that win.
Yeah, well, she's also Magic Millions, but whether she's up to that sort of level, I'm not sure just yet. But I mean, she'll have an opportunity to try and pick up a bit of black type. Hopefully a win in about 3 or 4 weeks' time. There's a nice race for her at the Gold Coast she'll head to. She'll have a run before that, and then there's actually quite a few listed races coming up for her over the summer carnival, so she'll be hopefully lining up in those.
Very good. Well, she's in good form, so congratulations to her big ownership group. There was some excited owners after the race with her also.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, no, particularly one lovely couple that have just recently purchased a share in her, so they enjoyed the festivities of the day.
Very good. And the wins didn't stop there either. 2 from 2 in the Unibet Punting League, tipping us all into Rhapsody Rose and then Incentivise in the Caulfield Cup. And wasn't that some win?
It's incredible. To see a horse sort of be exposed that far out in a race like the Caulfield Cup and just sustain a long searching gallop from the 1,000 metres the way he did. It was just classical English staying type effort, and I just I don't know how they're going to beat him in the Melbourne Cup. I just think he wins and wins easily, and only bad luck or it's probably the only thing that can beat him, I think, the way he's going, because you're not going to get the normal European level of horses come over, and I just think the Melbourne Cup's his for the taking.
Yeah, well, it's a great racing story, isn't it? 16 lengths near last in a maiden in March in Queensland, and now a 3-time Group 1 winner, and as you said, favourite for the Melbourne Cup. So I guess there's a message in that for all of us, isn't there? Trainers, owners, punters. Just because they might not be winning on debut, that doesn't necessarily mean what they can't achieve later on with a bit of time or patience or whatever you need to tinker with.
No, that's right. And I think it highlights something else too. And unfortunately, the emphasis in Australia is on young 2-year-old racing and the rest of it. But I think in this instance, it's very, very clear that Steve Tregea has done a great job with this horse by giving him the time that he's needed to grow and develop. And he never started racing until he was a 4-year-old. So, I think there's a story in that and a message in that people sort of sometimes, as frustrating as it is, they do need to be a bit patient. And, the rewards will certainly come if they can afford to wait.
Yeah, well said. Obviously, that's the way that the industry is, but change of thought probably needed there. All right, well, you're in form with the tips. So you've had 3 winning weeks in a row with the Unibet Punting League. What are you tipping us into this weekend?
Well, it was interesting because I'd sort of been a bit of an Animo fan leading into the Cox Plate, and I still am. I think he's a great horse. I think he's a really, really good horse. But I'm just I just think Zaki, and I haven't been a fan of his in Melbourne, just the Melbourne way of going. I love the horse, but I just think that Zaki on the Moonee Valley track with James McDonald back on board has got a few things going his way. And I can see him on Saturday probably returning to the form that he showed us here in the winter, just for those factors, the fact that the horses seem to handle Moonee Valley better than any other track. I mean, look at Kingston Town. He won 3 Cox Plates, but he struggled to get around any other track down there in Melbourne. So it's just one of those funny little tracks where sometimes horses can handle it better than any of the other, or the Sydney horses can handle it better than either of the other 2 tracks. So I'm leaning Zaki's way. I think he's going to bounce back and be hard to beat in the Cox Plate.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Because sometimes I guess people refer to Moonee Valley as being the more tricky one rather than Caulfield. But, obviously you see it sort of the other way around, I guess, in this instance.
Yeah, particularly with Sydney horses. I remember Darren Beedman telling me once that Sydney horses can usually handle Moonee Valley better than Caulfield the first day out at the races. They seem to get around that, and whether that's because of the camber or what, but he was right. I can remember seeing a lot of horses being able to get around the valley really well, but then struggle with a track like Caulfield.
Okay, and Cox Plate obviously holds a special place in your heart. You've been there, done that, winning it as a jockey. What is the key to winning a Cox Plate as a jockey? What have you got to do with your horse in the race?
Oh, mate, the key to winning Cox Plate is be the last horse off the bit at the school. That's the key to it. If you're riding your horse along and you're having to ask him for an effort before you get to the school down the back, you're in a bit of bother. But I think you've just got to just ride it as a normal race. Ride your horse and not so much the race, and it will all unfold.
Very good. All right, and also before we get into the preview, you've got another tip for us in the Unibet Punting League.
Yeah, well, I thought Halil. I thought he bounced back to an incredible win the other day, and I've got no reason to think why he couldn't do it again. So I like Halil. I think Tommy Berry on him rode him well the other day, and he's just a horse that I think should keep on improving.
Very good. Well, hopefully the winning run continues. And as always, Unibet will be offering enhanced odds on those tips, your special tips, as well as the runners, Months Racing runners over the weekend. So speaking of, let's get into the preview. Friday night at the Sunshine Coast gets us underway. Race 1, a benchmark 65 over the 1,800 metres. Outback Gladiator here, barrier 2 for Tiff Brooker. And he cost himself any chance at the Sunny Coast last start, didn't he, after sort of bombing the start and then finished off well for a nice third.
He did, and it surprised me that he did that because he's normally a very quiet horse and behaves himself, but he just come out a bit awkward, and Tiff was a long way back, and for him to make up the ground he did was a terrific effort. But he's only a Class 1 horse still, but I was keen to try and run that in that grade of race, but unfortunately there's none around over a trip, so he's going to have to go to the rating race over 1,800, where I'm hoping that Tiff can sort of get a similar run, and he should be able to finish it off quite well.
Okay, very good. Well, good luck to Connections there. We then move over to race 4, a Class 2 over the 1,200, where Vista Bell lines up, barrier 1 for Larry Cassidy. She ran really well on debut for the stable, and then was obviously off the back of that heavily backed into her second start. What are you expecting from her here?
Well, I'd expect it to be extremely hard to beat. The other day at Doomben, it was quite a strong race. That winner, I've got no doubt, is a Saturday level horse, and the horse that finished second come out and was placed in town last Saturday. So I think it's a race that's within her reach. She's going to get the right run with Larry on. He knows how to ride her now, and I've got no reason to think that she couldn't be hard to beat in that sort of race. She just seems to be like to be held up, and she comes with one quick rush.
Okay, very good. Well, that's a fair push for Vista Bell there in race 4. Another one who ran into a smart one last start was Northern Woods, who's fourth up here. He's in a Class 1 plate over the 1,600 metres, and he's racing well.
He is racing very well, and he improved nicely from his first run to his second run, and I'm sure he's improved again now from second up to this run. So, look, he'll be on the speed. He's got a bit of weight relief with Manu Potgieter to ride him, and he's a pretty straightforward horse. So I can see him being very hard to hold out with the right sort of run in the race.
Okay, well, good luck to Connections there. Doomben on Saturday. Race 2 is a 2-year-old plate over the 1,110 metres. Prime for Victory lines up here. Barrier 3 for James Orman. He's also a dual acceptor for the Gold Coast. He led them up on debut over the 1,050. How do you think he'll handle the extra trip here and obviously taking benefit from that first up run?
Yeah, well, look, I think the first up run was a little bit rushed. He'd only trialled on the Tuesday, going one trial into that. I'm sort of hoping that on Saturday we can be a little bit more conservative on him. I thought we just sort of we burnt the candle both ends there with him his first run. He didn't disgrace himself. He still ran a very, very good race. But I just feel if we could be a little bit more conservative with him out of the gates, well, he should be able to relax a lot better for us, and he's obviously going to be improved from his first run to his second run. So that's probably the key to him, just getting to relax and getting him to finish his race off.
Very good. Well, good luck to everyone involved there. We then head over to race 6, which is a cutest 3-year-old fillies handicap over the 1,200, where Berdini's Girl is second up after striking a pretty competitive Class 1 in her first up assignment.
Well, it was a very strong race, but I thought she ran on quite nicely. It probably surprised me that she didn't go the speed that I'd expected from the gates. I thought that she'd be able to go a bit more speed out of the gates, but anyway, she still ran on nice and strong at the end. So on Saturday, we're just instructing Jimmy to ride the mare as he finds her. Hopefully, he can have a just a nice run in behind the speed there somewhere, and she should finish off for us late.
Okay, very good. Well, they're the two runners heading to Doomben on Saturday. Let's take a look at the Gold Coast program, where you've got 3 runners engaged. Race 4 is Failed to Mention in a maiden plate over the 1,200 for the boys. And Failed to Mention finished 7th on debut at Ipswich. He's another one probably will take benefit from that first run, do you think?
Yeah, well, he will, and he's still got a little bit to learn as well. He's a gross little fella, and he has improved from his first run, but whether he's proved enough, he's just drawn a bit tricky as well there on Saturday. So he's going to need probably a conservative ride the first half of the race to allow him to run on. But if he happens to get that, I'm sure he'll be finishing off pretty strongly. But he's just going to need the right sort of run for the first half of the race to give him a chance to run on.
Okay, very good. We then move over to Arthur in Charge, who's in race 5, a Class 4 handicap over the 1,400 metres. And he finished off well first up.
He did. No, he ran on really well. He got back in a race where I thought he might race a bit closer, but I was really happy with the way that he levelled out the last bit. It was probably a bit stiff not to finish in the mix there, but he'll improve fitness wise from that, and he should get the right sort of run there on Saturday.
Okay, very good. Well, good luck to everyone involved there. And the final runner for the weekend is Triptonic, who's entered for a benchmark 65 over the 1,200 metres. Ryan Wiggins to ride from barrier 5. And he worked home well over the 1,350 last start, but drops back to the 1,200 here.
Yeah, well, he was quite unlucky the other day. He just got bottled up with nowhere to go. And when he was finally allowed to gallop, he really hit the line quite strongly and was stiff not to win. So Wiggo rides him well, and he knows where to put him in the race. So I'm sure that this horse, if they go fast, he'll be storming home over the top of them. He's got his foot on the till, that's for sure. And he's probably one of our main chances there for the weekend.
Okay, fair push for Triptonic also. Well, that's the runners for the weekend, mate. Thanks for the insights. Thanks for the tips, and I'll see if you can back it up this week.
Good as gold. We'll be doing our best. Thanks, Adam.